Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at a mod for the Gravel 8 series called the Off-Road Van. So it adds all the vehicles with the dirt background to the 8 series. We're going to be starting off with the Off-Road Van Sporty version simply because it's the first one in the list. And I'm really not sure if I would actually consider this a mod for the 8 series, and I mean that in the best way possible. Because when you look back here, you'll notice that's very different. This is no ordinary 8 series for sure. This is actually basically a dedicated off-road vehicle with some 8 series body panels strapped to it. So if we wanted to, we could go ahead and just tear off the body panels to see what's below them. And you can see that is basically a brand new vehicle. What's actually used from the stock 8 series? Basically just this frame right here. Everything else pretty much is all custom made. So this is almost a brand new vehicle as far as I'm concerned. That's why I barely consider it a mod for the 8 series. It's very similar to what they do with monster trucks. So it'll look like a truck, sure, but under those body panels, you'll have something like this, where the only relationship it has to the production vehicle is that it looks similar to the production vehicle. So let's go ahead and get this thing in an off-road environment so we can see how well it performs at off-roading. And thankfully, there's an off-road environment right behind us. All of the desert shall be our test area. Even the river right here, that shall also be our test area. So it looks like we have just enough ground clearance right here to not immediately hydrolock when you're sitting in the water. Like you can see, the engine is submerged some, but the air intake is not submerged this time. So that's why we can keep on driving through the water, even though it is scary close to, oh no, the engine is submerged. It's scary close to submerging the engine as it submerges the engine. Also notice sometimes the engine kind of just does this, where you're flooring it and nothing's really happening. All you have to do is just clutch in so it revs up, and then you let off the clutch and it'll power through whatever obstacle you have in your way. Another thing that's kind of funny is when you're driving this thing, it sounds like it's a completely different engine sound, but it's actually a stock BeamNG.drive engine sound. Just the normal engine only revs up to like 4,000 normally. This one revs up to 7,000. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys listen to that so you can see what I mean, hopefully. That should give you guys a good example of what I mean. So let's go ahead and bash this thing into the wall a little bit. And that didn't do too much damage at all because it was a side swipe instead of a direct hit. We should be able to keep on driving if we restart the engine again. I gotta be a little bit careful about this thing accidentally churning off while I'm driving it. So there's a nice finishing crash, I think. Well, let's see. Can this thing still drive? Yes, but will it drive good? Probably not. So just gonna take a look at the damage all around. Not too damaged, and then we'll reset it. It seemed like this thing likes flying through the air, doesn't it? So let's go ahead and try making it fly through the air a little bit more. Here's a nice little spot to pop it up and land it nice and level on its wheels, and it should be able to keep on driving without issue with the suspension, I would think. It was a hard landing. It even caused a couple of body panels to fall off, it looks like the front bumper, but let's see, how well does it do for driving straight? It drives pretty much perfectly straight as far as I can tell, so that's great. Let's do a really big jump now. This thing is going to chuck it in the air and it's going to get destroyed, I'm pretty sure. But maybe it'll surprise me and somehow still be able to pull along. Ooh, well, it might have been able to pull along until it crashed right there at the end. Now I'm not so sure. Go ahead and just level it upright real quickly with a little bit less strength than that. I realized I was pulling at the body panel, so I got to be gentle, otherwise it'll fall off. So can it still drive? Sort of. It can still put down power, but I have no steering after that crash. How unfortunate. One of the neat things about this car, though, that I don't really remember seeing in any other vehicle is that that piece can fall off. What is that piece? That is the windshield. Yeah, the windshield on this thing actually falls out instead of just having broken glass. So let me show you what exactly I mean by that by just yanking it out. So we just go and grab it, and with enough force, it pops off. And it's literally a separate piece that you can chuck off wherever you want to. And I don't know where that thing ended up. But yeah, I've never seen that before in a vehicle, so I thought that was pretty cool. I want a windshield though, because I can't have bugs flying into my car while I'm trying to drive. That would be annoying, even though there's like 10 different holes they could fly into probably on this thing. I don't care. There's one less hole for them. That was a pretty good jump. I don't know how this thing's gonna do though. The engine still works. Looks like we still got steering, but the steering's like really sloppy looking. Like, it looks really funny. Left, right. But it looks like it works. Does it still drive straight even? Let's see. Can't go in a straight line when I'm accelerating that hard. Yeah, this thing's even going pretty straight. That's awesome. Surprisingly durable suspension on this thing. Like, it doesn't steer in left and right really good, but with a little bit of e-brake magic, it still can get around those corners, it looks like. Like right here, a little bit of a tighter corner. We use a little bit of e-brake magic, and it's good. That is really surprising, because that was not an easy impact for that thing to survive. The angle it hit it should have been pretty damaging to this thing. I mean, it was damaging, but somehow it persists and it survives. Although, are we going to hit that rock with the suspension? Yes, we did. I was a little bit worried about that happening. I don't think it's too detrimental to the vehicle, though. We hit it at a nice low speed. Yeah, we're fine still. I gotta find me a jump. Here's a jump. Here's a jump. Little jump. Little jump. Little jump. No problem. Oh, goodness. Maybe a problem. Many, many little jumps all consecutively. So you can see, though, even after all that, it still drives so straight. Look at this. Going a little to the left, sure, but that is very straight for how damaged this thing should be. All right, now let's damage it. Gonna go slow-mo right here. Ooh, up on the wall. Let's see, actually. Nice, getting it into a roll. There's no damage on this thing yet. If we can land on our wheels, this is amazing. Come on. Come on, onto the wheels. Almost, almost. Wait, we got another chance. Onto the wheels. No, we don't. We're gonna overshoot it. Onto the wheels and keep driving. Onto the wheels, keep driving. Right there, right there. There's the spot. There it goes. Oh my goodness, this might actually work. No, it's not. There's trees in the way. There's trees in the way. Get out of the way, trees. Oh. If that would have worked, that would have been absolutely amazing. At least we get to see another cool feature of this vehicle. So that is the fact that the front can fall off. That's what happened. The front fell off. It's not supposed to fall off, but it did. The front has the engine, so right there's just a piece sitting there. And then if you look at this thing, well, there's no front on it. There's nothing there. Actually, let's take a closer look at the front first. So you can see it kind of would attach in the left side, and there's the engine right there. And it would attach right to the front of that vehicle. And there are a lot of parts on this thing that can be torn off that look like they wouldn't be able to. So what I want to do is I want to reset it, and then I'm going to tear it to pieces bit by bit, just so you can see how many different pieces there are in this thing that can be torn off. So start off with the big body panels. Those ones are obvious. You can tear off things like that without any sort of issue at all, because I've already done that. And then we also got the rear doors. Those things can come right off, no problem. And then we also have these little storage bins in the back, so you can tear off the individual doors on those things as well. Whoops. That's if you grab them. Oh, don't roll down there. Get back up there. There we are. Put the parking brake on so it can't roll around so much. So anyways, you can take the individual doors off of this thing door by door, and these actually don't take that much force, do they? Yeah, they're very lightly attached. You wouldn't expect those to have really big, beefy hinges or anything like that. And then there are more pieces here, like this piece. Whoops, that's not the piece I meant to grab. This piece can come off, and it actually came off in a couple of pieces. So there's like the grate right there that I pulled off, and then there's actually another piece from that over there, which is like the little storage box part. You can see the grate went over that part right there. And then going back to here, there are a few more pieces you could take off. Like this whole kind of rear section right here can come off completely. So let's go ahead and do just that. There we go. There's another piece coming off. And actually, you can see there's still another piece that can be pulled off right here. Like, there are so many pieces here that you can tear apart. It is just interesting to see them all and see how many pieces you can pull off before you run out of things to pull off. I think that's pretty much it, unless you want to start pulling off the suspension and the exhaust and stuff. I mean, sure, you could do that. Why not? They're not attached very strongly. You just yank them right off again and yank off that too. You can yank the doors. Whoop, no, bad door. Maybe the doors don't get yanked, actually. You know, I didn't think about this. How funny is that? So, out of all the pieces that you could... Oh, wait, it did come off. I was going to say, out of all the pieces you could tear off, the door isn't one, but then it was. And there's just little pieces everywhere. I don't even know if I can identify them all, to be honest with you. I was looking for the main cage, and I don't know where it flew off to unless it just kind of obliterated itself. But just debris everywhere when you play with this thing. It's fun. So let's try this again, the door removal. This thing just has really strong doors for no good reason, I think. That's kind of funny. There's probably some good reason for it, but yeah, it has strong doors and also a strong hood as well. That thing really got yanked around. And you already saw, of course, the front can come apart without any issue at all. Like, that thing actually comes apart right there. You really clearly see the engine, too. It's a stock engine model as far as I know. I didn't look at it too closely, but one thing that's neat is how far back it sits. It doesn't normally sit this far back, so you can actually see from the passenger seat, you can see the engine. It's not like you can see a little bit of an engine. No, you can just straight up see the whole engine right there. And you can even see some of the transmission as well, because actually most of the transmission as well right there. Just a little bit being blocked by the cup holder, which is still there. So I thought that was pretty cool as well. Anyways, that's enough tearing this thing apart. We need to take a look at some of these other versions. So let's go ahead and do another wide version, because the one we were just driving is wide. So we're going to try the off-road van wide. This is the non-sport edition of the one I was just driving. And right off the bat, you can see quite a few cosmetic differences between this one and the one we were just driving. It has a rear bumper with some extra hooks on it. It has a flag that'll flap around as you drive. And then it has a big rack on top where you can store things, I assume. Then you have those extra lights up top, which unfortunately I do not know how to turn on. Like, I tried the normal headlights and high beams lights, and I also tried doing like fog light buttons and stuff, but I couldn't figure out how to actually turn them on. I looked, maybe it's in the controls. There's just a control for the cargo doors. And just so you know, the cargo doors do function on this thing, because it's not as simple as, oh, of course they function because it's the van. No, this is a re-implementation. That's something that the mod author actually had to make sure they put into the mod. We also got some extra tires back here, and you could pull off the strap off the tire. How cool is that? Like, the straps are separate pieces. You could literally take the strap and use it to attach two things together if you wanted to. You could literally use it for, like, that's just an extra bonus. This itself could be used as a mod, basically, just to like strap two things together. But here it is. It's just part of this. It's awesome. Also on the front, we have this big old bar right there to protect you from anything you might crash into. So when I do those big jumps that slam the front end, even more durability. And this is a little bit more serious with the off-road capabilities, because it has lockable differentials down here, and then also has a low-range gearbox. So let's go ahead and try some off-roading with this thing. We'll leave the doors open. Why not? It makes us be able to see the tires as they bounce around. Well, they're actually pretty secured back there. Not going to do too much bouncing, it seems like. We got to make them bounce. And it's funny. Looking at this thing with the flag and stuff, it makes me think of a monster truck, because you can attach a flag to a monster truck for dramatic effect. And that's all I can think of when I see a flag on a vehicle like this. So going through the off-road section, doing just as good as the other one, if not better, because it has that flag going for it. Here's a nice jump, hopefully. Oh goodness, that's not a nice jump. That's a massive jump. Alright, so I was saying how we have the bar in the front to hopefully protect us in an impact. I'm not sure about an impact that big. Let's see if we can get it upright and see what it does. Oh, come on, come on. Yep, there we go. Oops, I accidentally tore off the roof section. But once again, driving real straight after a big impact. That really is impressive about the suspension side. Like, you'll lose some steering capabilities, but you don't have to really worry about it pulling super hard to the left or right after an impact. And also, we're over-revving this engine so bad it has valve train damage. Whoopsie! Alright, let's try to pop it in the air one more time before it blows up. Let's look for a good spot. I see nothing. We're going to hit this rock instead. A lot of little bits just flying off all over the place. Like all those wide body fender bits. Yeah, those are all gone. There's one of the wheels just rolling around after it fell out, I guess, right? Yeah, the wheels fell out and they're going wherever they want now. Those are the exact same wheels, or they're slightly different. Let's see. I think it's the same, isn't it? I don't know. Let's take a quick peek. Yep, that's the exact same wheel. These are full-size spares. It'd be really strange to have not full-size spares and multiples of them in an off-road vehicle like that. I just wanted to make sure. Next up, we're going to do another wide one. We're doing all the wide ones first. I have no idea why, but that's the way I want to do it. This is the wide low end. And at first I thought it said lowered. I'm like, wait, why would you lower an off-road vehicle? That makes absolutely no sense. And I'm like, oh wait, no, it says low end. So what's the low end mean? It just means it doesn't have a lot of the fancy engine upgrades and stuff. And you can see it's quite a bit slower in a straight line compared to the other one, but it still is a pretty capable off-road vehicle, all things considered. I mean, you look at the suspension there, and it's still a pretty nice, beefy suspension setup there. Let's go ahead and do more basic off-roading with this for now. We're just going to drive along the dirt roads. This is a relaxing Sunday morning drive for this car, I would assume. Eventually, it won't be so relaxing. I just want to get it up high onto the mountain, or at least decently up the mountain. Then we're going to try driving off the edge and seeing if we can still drive afterwards. I just got to find the right spot, and I'm actually noticing, wow, this thing really is down on power, because just going up this hill is a bit of a struggle for it, because I've been flooring it this whole time, and it just doesn't want to move too much. So I guess we'll go ahead and say right about here should be a good enough place to try to drop it off the edge. So we'll save this spot. And when we jump off of this, we need a little bit of speed going with us. So I'm going to go forward up the road just a bit more, and 20-ish miles per hour like we have right now should be good enough for this. So off the edge we go, and let's see what happens here. Oh, that's not bad. It actually made through pretty cleanly. It's doing a nice little roll right there, which is good for the vehicle because it gets a little bit less major impacts in one specific location. And yeah, it can still drive, except it's just as slow as before. Apparently, the weight reduction strategy has failed. It is just gonna go about 30 miles per hour the whole way. We gotta find something to crash it into to finish it off. I see all kinds of bushes over here. Let's hit a bush, or not, because we're bouncing all over the place. Let's hit a rock instead. Doesn't matter what I hit, to be honest. And it still wants to drive, but I don't care. We're gonna go to the next one, which is the crash hard version of the vehicle. And this one is basically identical to the one we were driving earlier with the flag. The only difference is the looks of it. This one has the words crash hard all over the place. It's on the back, it's on the doors, it's on the hood, and it's also on the flag, because that's the name of the author for this vehicle. And the flag on the other one was the exact same as this one, if I remember correctly. So let's go ahead and drive this around for a little bit, find a good spot to crash it, and then we'll move on to the next one. We don't need to do too much driving with this one though, because it's the same as the other one. Ho ho, wow. Okay, wow, that's what? Like, the front has basically disconnected from the rest of the vehicle, but it's still driving. I don't, like, okay. So what happened was, it looks like the underside of the vehicle right here. Let me get this thing to come to a stop if it will. So you see the frame of the vehicle is basically separated, right? At least on that lower section. But over here where the engine and stuff is all connected, like, there's some piece around there that's still holding it together just a little bit. So that's why it can kind of pull itself along, but it looks like it's falling apart as it does it. And unfortunately, steering is completely broken at this time. It just kind of leans the tires. It doesn't actually steer it. So I'm just going to floor it, and we're going to see what happens here. I'm going to get a little bit of slow-mo here so we can... Oh, we couldn't see it because of the bushes. Well, that was a real interesting situation there. The game's getting really laggy. It's not like what I'm doing, apparently, so let's just reset this. And we'll go to the next van we're going to be taking a look at, and this one is the soft suspension version. And as far as I can tell, this one is pretty much the low end with a much softer suspension setup, and you really notice it when you go over a bumpy terrain. It smooths it out so much. Like, it looks like it kind of just levitates along. It's so smooth. So let's see, is this a good bumpy area right here? Yeah, okay, look at how much the suspension moves around as we do this right here. Just tons of movement in the suspension, and the body of the vehicle is staying pretty level throughout this whole thing. Like, I would think you'd actually be pretty comfortable in this thing for how bumpy the road is, where normally it'd be hurting your spine a bit. And we're going to crash into a wall because I'm too busy looking at the suspension right there. No, we're not. We're good. So that's really the best way to demonstrate that, is just doing some off-roading and seeing just how soft it can be. It is softer, though, where you steer, you even notice it, though. Like, the whole vehicle leans a little bit in that direction. So again, just here's a full speed showing of how beautifully soft it works. Just gliding over the rough terrain. It's magnificent. And now it's upside down. Wait, no, it's not. It's right side up. And I want to show you this from the inside, but unfortunately I noticed that there is no interior camera for this vehicle. One of the things I'm kind of sad about is that there's no interior camera, because then you get to see just how smooth this thing glides across the terrain. Very, very good at that. But it is slow. So we're going to go to another one instead. We're going to go to the crawler, which isn't super fast, but it is good at crawling. Imagine that. The crawler can crawl. This one doesn't have any rear doors though, so you got to be careful not to lose your tires. And we're going to just go ahead and, you know what? Can we crawl up that right there? That might be a good test right there. That's like a real steep area followed by basically a vertical thing. So let's see. Can it do it? Whoa, come on. I shouldn't have gunned it right there. It probably can if I had a better approach at this. So are we stuck? Yeah, we're stuck. We're going to give this one more attempt real quick because I think it can do it. Give myself a little bit of a better angle of approach. Because I got to think with that crawler mindset. I got to go like an angle like this. And oh, it is so close to making it up. But the body is just a little bit too long and then it seesaws. And you can't do anything when you're seesawing because you have no wheels on the ground to get enough traction. Still pretty good though. I mean, I'm sure it could go around this side, no problem. This side is easy peasy for it, right? Yeah, pretty much easy peasy right there. No issues whatsoever. Could the normal version have done that? Maybe with a good attempt. Doesn't have to be a great attempt, just a good one. You're pretty good on that jump right there. Not going to try climbing that, but over here, that looks pretty steep without having a basically straight vertical climb. And that was no problem for it, going slow and steady. Feels like you could go pretty much anywhere on this map with this thing, though. It's not like the best crawler I've ever driven, but it is a very, very solid one, that's for sure. And this is basically a dead end. I don't know where I'm going, as you can tell. I just saw a good thing to try to drive through, and I did. Uh-oh, there goes the suspension, probably. Yeah, that probably damaged something. So, back to where we were. And this is going to be the last version we drive, basically, because there's also two kind of stripped down versions, but I'm not going to bother with them because those are basically already been seen. Like, I'll spawn it up real quickly, I guess. But when I was tearing off the bits and pieces of the vehicle, you basically saw the stripped down version at that point in time. So this is the vehicle without any body panels whatsoever. And that's why I say this is a brand new vehicle, basically. All of this is new, except for like the few 8 Series parts here and there. That's why I don't consider it a mod. This is basically its own vehicle that looks like an 8 Series. We also have the bare bones, which is missing a lot of those fun pieces that fly off. This thing is a kind of intense vehicle at times, I think, though. So if you have a computer that's not so strong, this would be a good version for you to use where you don't have to worry about the lag, hopefully. Me, on the other hand, I really don't have to worry about that because I haven't experienced much lag with it except that one occasion where it was a little bit glitching out. So the next version we're spawning up is the drag version. This one is fast in the straight line, but it's not really off-roady. It doesn't seem like it has tires set for the off-road, as you can see right here. Like, we're accelerating really hard, and it moves! But I feel like this thing would go a lot faster if we were on a paved road, but I don't really feel like driving all the way to a paved road, really. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pop this thing in the air over here, and then we're going to take it to a place where it has a nice long straightaway to drive on, and oops! Whew. It's fun watching the front fall off, isn't it? Just, boop, there goes the front, there goes the engine, all in different directions. Anyways, we're going to take this thing to a drag strip, basically. We're going to go to SSRB. And I think this is about equivalent to a stock drag car, but we're going to do a little bit of testing and make sure, after all, it is called the Crazy Dragster, so it might be crazy faster. I don't think it is after driving it a little bit. We're going to make sure. It is a crazy setup, though. The whole front's basically gone except for the engine. And then in the back, we do have drag tires. You can tell those are not off-road tires. And that super lifted suspension setup in the back looks ridiculous. So all we're going to do is we're going to see what speed is across a specific spot. So like right where the shadow of the tunnel ends, it hits 160-ish miles per hour, and it's on fire most of the way, and then the fire stops. It looks like it's going to top out maybe close to 200 miles per hour. Yeah, it looks like it stopped pulling right around now. So close to 200 miles per hour, and now we'll just grab a regular drag car for comparison. We'll go with the drag version of the Barstow. And I could have tried to drive them side by side. The problem is you can't floor it with these, because if you just floor it with no steering, that happens. So you'd really have to like try to steer them both at the same time, which is not an easy task. It's much easier just to do what I'm doing right here. And you can't trust the AI to actually floor it correctly. They'll like half floor it and be lazy. So that one went through the tunnel and exited at about 165 miles per hour. So these two are pretty much on equal ground. Although this one does have more top end. I'm thinking that's probably mostly due to the gearing. Yeah. So anyways, this thing's about to blow up anyways. The other one had much more reliability, that's for sure. Now let's finish things up with a good old leap of death, because this thing is so different from a normal Vanster. I'm sure Leap of Death will look completely different. The first impact will be a lot of fun to watch because you'll have so many parts going in every which direction, and I want the one with the most parts possible, so that's probably going to be the wide version. I want to be able to see the parts as they fly off though, so we're going to get it in a nice orange color. Always got to have those orange vehicles all the time. I don't know why, orange vehicles are nice. Someday I'm going to own an orange vehicle and that's not orange. What happened here? That's not orange. Can you not change the color on this one and I didn't notice it? Let's see. No, it's just the preset I clicked didn't work. How weird. Give me the orange. Ooh, that's an ugly orange. Wait, I could just click the color. There we go. There's a good orange. All right, we're ready to go now. It's actually able to go pretty fast through here so far. That was like 68 miles per hour on the jump. It's going to fly far for the first impact, which means pieces are really going to fly all over the place. All right. Slow-mo. Oh, the suspension's just smushing itself. And hold up. The camera's starting to freak out. I want to be able to actually see this. So we're freezing physics real quickly. And look at this. It's actually driving down Leap of Death. It does not care. It's going to drive straight down Leap of Death. Oh my goodness. There is so little damage on this thing so far. If it can pull it off for the next jump, this is going to be amazing. All right, I'm just going to keep it at, let's do, I'm scared to do more than 16 times. We'll do 16 times so we can still see what's happening. Oh, the body panels are coming off. Hold it together. Ha! That's amazing. Like, the body panels are all slowly falling off. You got debris just everywhere surrounding this thing. There's all these little bits flying all over the place. That is just as magnificent as I thought it would be, except I didn't expect it to hold together this well and continue flying. Like, it could make it all the way to the water almost. It's going to be real close to it, that's for sure. Yeah, that is super close to the water. And I'm going to go ahead and bring the slow-mo. This one is not going to be so lucky, though. This is going to hit it hard. It's kind of hard to see anything, though, because of that big giant metal plate. Actually, again, the suspension takes most of the impact. How did it manage that? That is unbelievable. I have never seen a vehicle be that determined to not get damaged on Leap of Death and then catch fire for no real reason. It's underwater. Time to catch fire. Okay, whatever you want, car. We're gonna go ahead and do that one more time. This time in full speed, because I think it'll also be cool to see it in full speed as well. So about the same speed as last time, it looks like. And I hope it's just basically the same one we did as last time. Just nothing different. Or was I flooring it the whole time last time? That helped kept it level. I'm gonna keep doing that, hopefully. Come on. There we go. I did it again. This thing is madly consistent and holding it together as well. Can it get lucky on the second one as well? Let's see. Yeah, no. No, it almost did, but it hit flat. The other time it kind of slid into it. That one hit flat and just blew up. All right. I think that was cool enough where we could also have a cool looking impact at Brutal Slope as well. So on to there. And for this, I'm just going to use the same one because it has the most parts to fly off. Yeah, I could use the drag version, which would be faster, but it's missing the front quarter of the car, which would make it a lot less interesting to watch crash. So that should be enough backing up. Might have been a little bit too much backing up because I was busy explaining the setup we're going to use. Let's see here. That's good enough. We can work with this. How fast can we jump off this thing? Probably pretty fast, but I don't want to lose control, so we're going to be careful with it. There we go. That was easy. And then how high can this thing go before it tops out? About 100 miles per hour. All right, there we go. It shifted again. It's just shifting really late. Okay, so it tops out at about 200 miles per hour in actuality. And now everything's blowing up. The tires are blowing up. The engine is blowing up. Just keep it straight. Keep it straight. The slow-mo. Full slow-mo activate. And smash. Oh, camera's freaking out a little bit. Take it off. The panel on top just kind of stuck into the wall. That was weird. Alright, and then speed it up. So that cage in the middle is very, very strong. You can see just how well it held up. That's probably a little bit too strong for realism's sake. But overall, it doesn't really matter because this was a really fun vehicle to mess with all of its parts and pieces and all that. So that will do it for this video. Till next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.